Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today is Vlogoween Day 9. And for today, I wanted to talk a little bit about curation and composition and some sort of the design of art. Because I think, depending on where you're at in your life, this may be a very helpful conversation. Now, when you're putting together a sketchbook, or you're filling a sketchbook, or you're working on a project, or you're doing, sort of a prompt challenge, a lot of people really enjoy October for prompt challenges. It's sort of their first toe in with Inktober. But when it comes to sort of filling the page and putting things together, I highly, highly encourage that you put together lists and notes prior, or lists and notes as you're working, and really start to flesh out what you want to do and think about in terms of the finished product, because it can be really, really easy to look at it one day at a time so as not to overwhelm, and then just kind of go with what your mood feels. And in the end, it might feel a little bit not quite cohesive, or it might start to get a little monotonous, or it might not be engaging. So I want to give you some ideas of some little things you can keep in mind to sort of spice up your stuff as you work on it. And then it can also be building blocks towards putting together a portfolio, putting together a book you want to publish with illustrations. This all helps. So this is my Birdtober from December 2021. And this is a homemade sketchbook. This is by Lavender Green. I got this on Etsy. I'll link it below. I really, really like this one. This is the extra thick pages, which is why it sticks out like this, because of this type of binding. But I knew I was watercoloring on both sides, and I didn't want it to sort of seep through the pages. So what I did on this one, and again, these are all watercolor birds, is I did something very specific. On the left, I did a bird portrait. On the right, I tried to include the whole bird with a unique perspective, foreshortening, a different angle. Left portrait, right interesting angle. Left portrait, right interesting angle. A pelican from this view is very, very different than a side view. Portrait, full view. This is a kiwi. So you start to see how, here's a chicken. Start to see how I'm building something that's a little bit more intriguing, and then I'm making sure that I don't have back-to-back tons of days that are orange in a row, or tons of days that are all red in a row, that I'm really spacing out the colors, that I'm making sure to include a ton of colors to make it as interesting as possible. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I did with this one. And some of these, like, I had to make a design choice. Do I want to include the legs, or do I want more bird? And I wanted more bird and more bird body. So these were my watercolors, okay? When I did December for December of 2022, I did, the main illustration is in a Pilot pen. It's one of these. They're not light fast, but that is the main body of the work, is the same thing. And all my birds, do you see this? They're all facing to the right. They're all facing off the page, all of them. So there is cohesion. They're the same color. They're facing the same way. For the bulk, they go across 2 pages, which is also a design choice. Here's a dodo. Some of them are a little bit bigger than others, but for the most part, is very cohesive. You know what you're getting with this sketchbook, okay? If you want to see these slowed down, I will link my playlist of sketchbook tours. Now, for Birdtober, I'm doing 2 things. The first thing I'm doing is this bird is facing to the left, this one to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Did you pick up on that and notice that? The second thing I'm doing is portrait, huge flightless, full bird. Portrait, huge flightless bird, full bird. which I mean full bird by including toes. So portrait, huge flightless bird, and this is going to be full bird including toes. Now the other thing is I'm trying to include all the different colors of Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So you can see why they're bright, they're vibrant, they're engaging. It's a different thing to look at every single day. So for today's, it's going to be purple. I'm either thinking purple honey creeper, either a violet backed starling, or I don't know, something purple. That's what I'm going with today. The purple honey creeper is pretty good. Purple martin starts to get a little bit black, but these are some of the design choices that you make if you're putting together a portfolio or a whole presentation for people to look at your illustrations. Think about what you're including together. Think about it as a cohesive whole unit, and see if you have tons of green illustrations in a row, and then there's an orange one, and then there's more green ones, how you should space that, how those should be going. I find that with the same topic or the same subject back to back to back with the same medium, I am using colored pencil for all of these, they need a little bit of variation, a little bit of spicing up. That's why I have them facing different directions. That's why I'm including feet in some of them. One, I practice feet. And why I'm including just huge up-close portraits of some of these birds. It's differentiation to keep you engaged, to keep you interested, to keep you want to keep looking at my birds and giving you something constantly new to see, something for your eye to do. So I wanted just to talk about this because I feel like it can be a lot of fun putting together these types of things that could be very sort of in a rush, slapdash, but if you make notes and you make concerted efforts to sort of change the style and the design of how you do that. I mean, these are all the same. Obviously, they're all in my style. I have the colored pencils I used with the name and ink, so they all look the same in that regard. But there's just enough interest to keep you wondering what's on the next page. So as you go and as you fill sketchbooks now, you fill sketchbooks in the future, make notes. Find, a notebook. It can be a dollar store thing. It can be something on sale for back to school year, 99-cent store, whatever. If you're in a budget, the backs of junk mail that are blank, whatever you do to make notes on. I know I'm losing my voice a little bit. I apologize. Make sure that you have enough differentiation. So you're doing, an orange, you're getting a yellow, you're getting a purple, you're getting a blue, you're getting a green. And that will also create a level of interest, especially if you're doing animals. So like birds, insects. I did mushrooms, making sure I hit all the colors. And then I did a tally mark to make sure I didn't do too many browns or too many grays, because there's tons of mushrooms that are brown and gray. And I wanted to make sure I was including enough purple and enough blue. So as you go through some of my sketchbook tours, note that those are some things that I kept track of on purpose to make sure that it was still visually interesting, and I was including all the colors as well. So with nature and with birds, there's plenty to choose from. If you are doing something more specific, like you are doing birds from one region, or you're doing birds that are extinct, pardon me, I apologize. I did March of the Robots, and instead I did animals that were endangered, and I started with the most endangered first. So I started with elephants, and then I went all the way down. So we had elephants and rhinos up the first few pages, and then as it went down, they were less endangered. So there were some aquatic things mixed in, but that was specifically designed for that reason. Like, you knew which was the most in trouble, which was critically endangered versus which was only threatened as a species. Think about these things. You can put a lot of thought into curation when you are creating and filling a sketchbook. It can be very, very thoughtful. If you're doing regional, you can have a map and then have it starred, and you can move either clockwise, counterclockwise, alphabetically, places you've visited, It could be very specific and personal to you, but that is something you could very much include when you go to fill a sketchbook with birds. Or it could just be your favorites, or you could just pick one color and really concentrate on doing that one color and trying to get as much variation as you can for interest and intrigue. I mean, when I filled this book with nothing but teal birds, I had to do something in the background a little bit just to spice it up for me, for my level of interest. But the ink still really pops. That's still the most important thing on the page. So keep in mind, if you're only using one color, how you're going to present that and show your audience or yourself. When you go back to go through this and you want to see how you've improved over years of time, this has silver ink on it in case you're wondering what is going on. I did a wood grain. When I come back to this 4 years later and I'm drawing a fine liner bird, have I improved? I can look and see with my fine liner skills, but I can also look and see, has my curation gotten better? Has how I lay birds out, how I do things improved? So again, just a quick video. Think about the things you lay down on the page, make tons of notes, look back and forth, and see what you want to highlight to keep the viewer interested. I hope this helps. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.